As we welcome in our 1320 Kings insider, James Ham, fresh from a Kings practice, newsworthy practice, I guess, even though we all kind of thought this was coming. It is official. Mike Brown told you guys today that Keegan Murray is starting. And though he didn't say it directly, it became pretty clear during your conversation. Keegan Murray is starting in place for KZ Paula.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're expecting, that he'll start in place. And, Harrison Barnes was at practice as well. We talked to Harrison. We also talked to De'Aaron Fox. And we kind of got the lay of the land, what they think this is going to mean for the team, which better spacing, a little bit better movement of players, better offensive potential. You're going to take a little bit of a hit defensively because KZ has been really good defensively and his ability to guard everybody. But Mike Brown keeps saying this. The team really did think that when they got Keegan Murray, he was just a 4. And that's something that it was kind of understood. But as he's grown and as he's been there in the building, they now know that he can probably defend 2, 3, or 4. He can probably play 2, 3, and 4. I'm not sure that I buy that 100%. I certainly think he can play the 3 and the 4. But we had always said, he's more 4 than he is 3. I think you're now starting to see that he might be pretty switchable. And even if it's just as short, from the time he was drafted until today, they've done a lot of good work with him, getting his body in better shape and sort of converting him into a more versatile player, if you will.
One of the things that kind of stood out to me was as much as the schedule, as far as the actual games, it's pretty tough. With the start of the schedule is pretty tough. One thing that did happen that I think benefited the Kings, and I want to know what you think about after talking to all these people and being in practices, highly emotional start to the season, right? Just because the stakes are so high, highly emotional. You got, opening night at home, it's highly emotional. Whatever happened, you win or lose that game, whatever. Then you got the Clippers coming to town. Then you got the Warriors. Three quick, tough games and a highly emotional start to the season. And then kind of out of the blue, they give the Kings this window to catch their breath, right? Like they hadn't played since Sunday. And with them going 0-3, I feel like it's the potential that it kind of allowed them to catch their breath. All right, we're 0-3, but the sky isn't falling. Let's get to work on some of the things we can to get better. Do you think that was the sense around the Kings right now, that they were able to use this time with no game to just kind of catch their breath, get their legs back under them, and focus on some of the things they need to work on?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing right there. It's that you have time to really digest 3 games of film. It's still a super small sample size, but how do we get better? How do we figure out things that are going really wrong? And one of the things they've kind of circled, besides the free throw shooting, I mean, free throw shooting cost them at least 1 game and probably 2, like the opportunity to win 2. But the other thing that's really hurt this team is transition defense. And so that's something that they've been cleaning up, kind of getting the ideas behind what their scheme is going to look like. Because everybody has a little bit different scheme, whether it's how you defend the pick and roll or where you set the nail on defense or how you defend transition. Like everybody has a different idea. And I know the Kings wanted to be one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the league. And they're allowing their, if you are below where the bend starts happening in the 3-point line, if you're from there to the corner, your job is to crash the glass on the offensive end. And I think that might stop. Like we might not see as many attempts at offensive rebounds because that's how you get, sometimes you can get beat in transition. What happened in Golden State, Mike Brown talked about it yesterday. You just can't get beat when you put the ball in the basket. You can't get beat in transition on the other end. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's counter to everything that basketball is. If you get the offensive basket, you should have time to set up your defense. Kings just didn't do it. So that was a huge issue that they're addressing. But I think just transition defense in general, they're 30th in the league in transition defense, even if they're 19th or 20th in defensive rating.
How has Mike been the last couple of days when you've talked to him? he sounded a little more scattered today. He told the Keegan joke about how Keegan's reaction to everything is always okay. We speculated maybe he was a little flustered because there appeared to be a bright light shining down in his face for the first time in these media scrums. But
we're going to blame Sean for that.
I think that's perfectly
Sean
appropriate to blame Sean Cunningham for that.
You got him with the light, Sean.
But how has Mike been the last couple of days?
I think he's been really good. Like just the spirit that he has. We did get caught up in the whole are you in thing or whatever. All in, right? And that became sort of the theme.
So that was a great clip yesterday, by the way. You posted that. I thought that was a great clip of him talking about, signing I think it was a poster or something like that.
Yeah. But I don't think the responses from everybody has been the same. And so, like, when he started wearing the all-in shirt, like, the players hadn't really seen it. There's just sort of some mixed messaging going on with that a little bit. But it all makes sense. Like, being all in and being fully bought in, that's how this team is going to get out of this mess.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you're not 15 or 17 guys pulling together, we can even say, like, at this point, 14 guys pulling together and poor Chima getting pulled all over the place. Like Chima, I mean,
it's official. Chimezie Metu's been sent back down to Stockton, by the way.
Which reminds me, I know it's not Kings, but you see Tevin Coleman is signed back by the 49ers.
Oh my God. Cut him yesterday.
Yeah, that's like the guy that the defensive back that they've cut, like
him and Dante Johnson.
Yeah, Dante Johnson, like 400 times. It's funny too, and I'll bring this up. The Stockton Kings, they don't practice in Stockton. They're at the old practice facility. Yeah. Everyone lives here in Sacramento. So when Chima is getting sent back and forth, I know a lot of people are like, oh, get him a place in Galt. I saw that. And then there was some battle over somebody stealing someone else's line. And and I'm like, what in the world? He could have said something different, like Turlock or, somewhere in like the Grove, Elk Grove. He could have
Twin Cities Road.
Yeah, exactly. But no, people were going back and forth about it. Anyways, it's literally like Chima gets on 5. He goes like 2 exits up and he gets off and there's the other practice facility. So like as a crow flies, we're talking like 4 miles between the two places, maybe not even that. So it's good though. He's getting, he participated in media day for the Stockton Kings because he is going to play there quite a bit. And it's a good place for him to get some run.
You're listening to D'Lo and KC on KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, ESPN 1320, driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge, always live on the free Odyssey app. We're on youtube.com/ESPN 1320. If you're one of the several hundred people watching the show, we ask that you hit the thumbs up, become a subscriber as well. We're home for great Kings content all season long. Let's talk about Chimezie Metu for a minute. You posted a video that got us talking and some Kings fans talking yesterday following practice of Chimezie Metu. Kind of short answers, not the best body language, kind of looking off into the distance. We played part of it on the air, but as you're aware, there was apparently someone right behind you slamming a basketball against the ground. Apparently they were right under your microphone. That's the only explanation I could come up with. But I went back and watched the entire video this morning, so I want to get your perspective on that conversation with Chimezie Metu yesterday.
Yeah, okay. So, like, to pull back the curtain a little bit, I think that he was surprised that he was doing media that day. He thought that like even it was more appropriate for him to do media after the Warriors game on Sunday. So when he wasn't brought to the podium, I just think that it was kind of like, well, like, why do you guys need me today type deal?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he was too happy with the situation. There was more than that situation going on. And like, we're not going to talk about that on the air, but there was more than that situation going on with regards to who was going to talk on Tuesday for media availability. But he, like, I feel bad for Chimezie because he had worked himself up to a position last year where he was in the starting rotation part of the season. I think he started 20 games. He averaged almost 10 points a game. He's a guy who thought he's kind of like on the rise as far as where he's at. But I think he needs to realize that everything that you say in front of the media is going to be put out there. Your body language is going to be put out there. It's going to be examined. That's why I even tweeted it out with like posted without comment.
Mhm.
Like I'll let people figure out what they feel from what he says, but I don't think it was great. And it's too bad because Chimezie's a really, really bright guy
Mhm.
and he's usually very engaging with media. And, even when we asked him about the all in thing, we didn't just that was kings.com asking
I
because
was wondering who that was. I didn't recognize
it
the
was
voice.
Jason Wise. And
Okay.
it's something that I think that they're going to use for the run. And so they were just there to get to ask a general question about it. And then today I asked the follow-ups with the other players because it like Mike Brown's comments about it were really good.
Mhm.
And it's more of like an interesting story to kind of chase. But Chimezie really didn't. I think it's two things. It didn't feel like he understood what we were asking about, and it also didn't feel like he believed in what we were asking.
Mm.
And that was a problem. And so, look, I think that there's a time where someone's already had a conversation with him, but maybe not. Maybe that didn't happen, but I would assume that someone would say, look, in those situations, maybe take a second. If you're not sure what they're asking about, after Mike Brown had just gone on about, this document and they all sign it and all this stuff. And then he wore a shirt. I'll tell you, Fox hadn't seen the shirts either until he saw it that day and was like, huh, all right. Like Mike Brown has an all in shirt. But the document thing, Mike went into some pretty big detail. And then to have Chimezie step up and go, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. And then his other response was, and if it says all in, that's pretty self-explanatory. And it was. I think if in all honesty, his answer and his response was very self-explanatory. We know what all in means, but we now know what all in means to him. And that's where you're reading body language, you're in an uncomfortable situation with a player, and whether he was, not in the right frame of mind or whatever, once the lights are on and the camera's there, it's not that many of us. It's like a little media scrum. Well, it's bigger than normal, but you have to know that every single thing that you say and the way that you say it is going to be out there. And so,
And Dame, I want to hear, because you heard the whole thing. I want to hear what you thought about it. But this is a thing that you kind of guard against when you start even 0-3. And this is what we talked about a lot is guys, and I'm just using Metu as an example because that's what we're talking about. But guys like him, they're fine. They're fine if you're winning. They're like, all right, we're winning. I think I should be playing, but we're winning. So I'm good. Most of them are. But if you start losing, then that's when the frustration is going to seep in. Well, you're not playing me. I feel like I can help all the time, and you're not playing me. Yet we're not winning. I'm gonna be upset now. I'm not gonna be in a good mood. Or maybe I'm not buying in. Not saying that's what Metu is doing. I'm just saying those are the situations that can arise when the winning doesn't happen, and that's where I say it's up to Mike Brown and maybe some of the council that's on the team to say, hey guys, let's not go away from what we try to dedicate ourselves to over 3 games or even over 5 games or 10 games. We have to stay the course. We have to trust the process, trust the work that we've put in. And that's the thing that actually concerns me, or I'm worried about more than the wins and losses right now, is just everybody staying engaged and staying bought into what's going on.
Yeah, I think so too. And look, looking at the chatty house, someone said that that was a dumb question. It's not a dumb question, and it's an opportunity for a player to talk glowingly about what's happening there and how they're trying to build something that's different than the previous 2 or 3 years, because that's how every other player has handled it.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes one of those things where, if everyone else is saying one thing and you're not saying those things, there's clearly an issue with buy-in. And so again, I don't want to just roast a kid and, throw him under the bus. It is tough. It is tough because he thought he was coming into this season and building off of last year, and he's not. He's taken a huge step backwards. And it's not that he's gotten worse as a player. He's taken a huge step backwards just in the players around him and the minutes he's going to get. His opportunity has taken a step backwards.
Mhm.
So I thought it was really good that he was ready against the Golden State Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
He came in, he was impactful. He was part of the team that made the run, whether you believe that run was legitimate or not. He was on the floor during that. He's part of the reason why it happened. But at the same time, like, you kind of have to understand where you are on a team, and situations like this, they don't help you. Like, that's not going to help you. So for any good that you did on Sunday, like, you kind of erase some of it if the right people see it come Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not, again, he should have, like, if he didn't want to do media, he should have said, I'm not going to do media.
I think that's a fair assessment of what happened, but I also think it's just an assessment, because as we played it, it was like, oh man, this is tough. Like, he looks agitated, annoyed, but he was answering the questions. It's like, all right, kind of giving short answers. And James has special long clip posting permits on Twitter, like,
13th round, only 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, he
Twitter blue, baby.
So that was a 4-minute clip that you posted, nearly 4-minute clip of Chimezie Metu talking. And as I thought, like, I never did go back and listen to that clip, or the one where the not suitable for work clip. I went back and listened to those two this morning, and as I listened to the Chimezie one, I was like, he's not saying anything bad.
Mhm.
Like, he's answering all of the questions. He was still very we oriented in terms of, we've got to do better. We're 0-3. Like, he very much spoke in a team aspect, or from a team perspective, the all in question. Maybe I'm stalling him out a little bit. I'm not sure that he heard or understood it, because you said it was Jason Wise. Jason, asked about all in and then mentioned a shirt. And then that was the part that seemed to confuse Chimezie Metu a little bit, where he's like, shirt. Yeah, Mike Brown's got the all in shirt. And he was like, oh, I haven't seen it. And then I think at that point, he wasn't sure how to answer the question, which is why he responded with self-explanatory. Like, I think he's thinking about, I haven't seen the shirt, I don't know what it is, but all in, it's self-explanatory. You know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know that he understood. I'm certain he didn't hear what Mike had said to you guys moments ago.
No, he had not.
And so he probably didn't recognize that was a theme of conversation amongst you guys throughout the day, nor that Jason Wise was referring to the document that he signed, the poster or whatever it was. So I'm stalling him out a little bit, only because, again, I listened to him and felt like, even though he wasn't smiling and cheer, I still feel like he engaged. Some of his answers were a little shorter than others, but he was still responsive for the entire media session. And I don't know. I felt a little differently this morning than I did watching him, for, I think, 75 seconds yesterday.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's sort of the way that media works now, right? If we want to show you a fun Mike Brown clip, if we can cut it down to 7 seconds of him yelling across the room, it has potential to go viral. There are times where it's like, okay, not a lot was said in this media session, so I'm going to clip 2 minutes and 20 seconds and put it up there that just kind of fits an overall theme of what we saw today at practice. And then on occasion, there is something like the Metu thing where, like, as a journalist, it was my decision to put up the whole 4.5 minutes or whatever it was. And I do that very specifically so you're allowed to see exactly what we saw. And I think it's one of those moments where if I were to clip out a couple of things and just put those things up, it would not have been fair at all.
You lose context, sure.
Yeah, you do. And so it's why a lot of times I really long quote people, because I think that's, a lot of people like just the quick, catchy, it's going to sell. But when someone says something and they explain themselves, I like to show that they explain themselves and what they mean by their statement. And that's not how everyone does it. But certainly in this situation, that's even why I put without comment. Like, I'm not going to sit here and if I put just a one quote, I don't know what that means, or it's self-explanatory and put that in quotes and throw it out there, then that's going to be the take. So I think it's better to let a player show you who they are in those situations. I didn't cut anything off that clip at all and put it out there.
Yeah, I love that you did that too. And the other thing that I always think about in these situations, and you alluded to it, and it's not really for our place to talk about it right here or whatever, but you hear stuff like that, you don't know what happened in his day.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the Sacramento Kings or
very
basketball
true.
or anything. And, you know, we all have a job to do. He's got a job to do. You got a job to do. But it could be one of those. The last thing I want to do is answer any questions about anything. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the Kings. Or no, we don't know that. You know what I mean? So that's why I try to just kind of leave it alone, because you don't know what's going on. It could have been a bad day. We've all had bad days. And I wanted to talk to anybody.
And even if it's not just he's having a bad day, he played 30 seconds on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, this is a guy who was in the rotation last year and who started 20 games. That doesn't feel good to play 30 seconds at the end of the first half. And
especially, and I think I think Casey, you might have noted this earlier. Like, when you're losing, I could have helped.
Yeah. And then,
they were all close games.
And then he gets his thought process is rewarded on Sunday when he goes in the game. And I don't know what his plus minus was, but I'm going to guess his plus minus plus 17, something like that, because he's on the court while they make their big run and get back in the game. And so again, it sort of like pats him on the back and says, yeah, you're right.
Good guess. It was plus 15.
Yeah, plus 15. So yeah, but it's sort of like the self-fulfilling prophecy. See, I got back on the court and see what happened. I'm
plus 15, baby.
Yeah. And so like, I get it. And he's a young player still, even though, what is he, 25, but still he's a young player as far as like experience in the league. He's a young player as far as how many times he's spoken to the media overall in his career. I mean, you could easily point to last season. Probably spoke to the media 20 times, and that was probably 18 more times than he'd ever spoken to the media before. And so again, he's a very bright guy. He's very articulate. He knows exactly what he wants to say. And I think that's when you've covered guys for long enough that you're like, okay, like, look, man, this isn't our first rodeo with you specifically. If we're not getting something out of a player, eventually we start to realize that either A, they're really guarded, or B, they're not comfortable and they're never going to be comfortable and they can't talk to us. And that's okay. Like, we move on and like, okay, well, don't give us this guy after practice or give us two guys like this after practice, because it comes down to a point at like, there were some discussions yesterday. It's like, at some point media, they have to realize that some of us are driving from a long way to be there, to put their news from their team out there. And the last thing we want is like to have walk away with nothing. And I don't think that's what happened yesterday at all. But at the same time, we may have asked for other players that were not part of the system yesterday.
And another thing about it too is there could be absolutely nothing wrong with Metu. We see things all the time where people like, "Why you got such an attitude?" I don't have an attitude. Well, look at your face. I'm actually happy. Like,
just at me next time, dog. Come on, man. Just at me next time, bro. Like, what are you doing?
You look like you got an attitude, body language. I'm actually really happy right now. Like, what are you talking about? But it comes off.
This is my face.
So that could be the case too, or he could be upset. We don't know.
There's all kinds of
we
things.
Don't know.
Yeah.
You think you know,
but you really don't know.
You guys did talk to Harrison Barnes today. Harrison has obviously been a topic of discussion the last couple of days. How was he?
I thought he was good. To be honest, he's the same Harrison, and that's the strange thing.
Spirits for everybody still where they were.
Yeah.
I guess it was a week ago.
Yeah, I mean, outside of a guy or two that thinks that they should be playing more. I think overall the spirits are high. We're still trying to get back to like a new normal. So it's not like when we walk into the locker room in post game that everyone is there. we usually are doing the same thing where we're getting like 2 players in post game. There's not a bunch of players in the room together still. It's very strange. We have not got back in the same flow that we would have been normally, and you're not seeing interactions between some of the guys who don't play all that much. So yeah, I think spirits are good. Like even talking to Harrison, he's still so focused on the we. And, I asked him very specifically, you're a guy who shot, almost 5 threes a game last year, and you got 5 through 3 games. So it doesn't, and he said, the shots will come. Like he's not concerned about it. And he's upset that he's missed free throws. But overall, like I didn't feel like it was a totally negative media session. He took the questions like he always does, and like was positive, still bought in. Excited to see Keegan get an opportunity in the starting lineup. And Fox even talked about, man, if we can get Harrison and Keegan going at the same time, and we have 2 40% shooters on the wings and Herter, now look what happens. Especially if he continues to shoot the ball well. Now that they become, a team that you really have to concern yourself with on the offensive end. And yeah, I mean, I feel bad because we're so hyper focused on Harrison, but I think it's just because it's so counter to everything that we've seen before. It's like if your kid is a straight A student, all of a sudden they have an F in a class, and everyone like, okay, so what's going on here? Is there something going on at home? Is there some, are you injured? Did you get a concussion? Like what's going on? And sometimes it's just like, man, I just forgot to turn in an assignment and got an F, and I bombed the one test we got. I bombed. We're 3 games into the season. I think that's what people need to like take a step back a little bit here and there and not totally panic over everything. And also like the fact that Keegan Murray is starting, like that's a good thing. The fact that he didn't start the first 3 games of the season, one of which that he missed, that shouldn't be looked at as some indictment on anyone. I mean, rookies don't always start game 1. Look at Benedict Mathurin just tearing it up for the Pacers. He ain't starting.
Right.
Buddy Hield is starting, people. So, I mean, like have some perspective. And like, I feel like there's a lot of crazy, like people on social media, people like pseudo media members that are like running around saying, see, we were right. It's like, man, the dude's playing 35 minutes a game. I mean, like, no, you're not right. It doesn't matter whether he's starting or not. He's going to be there eventually, and he's going to be there for a decade. Like we all assume that at this point.
Make money. Make money.
Okay.
But look, I will say this though. We got time. I will say this though. When Harrison talked about, letting the game and the offense and the shots come to him and all this other stuff, like, I get that. I don't think he's wrong. At the same time, I would like to see him be a little more aggressive. Like, I don't care what the offense is being ran or what's being called. You can't have one shot in a game. Yeah. Like, I know that's not the offense for it to flow like that, and you only get one shot. And I don't expect him to be like, yeah, I'm about to jack up a bunch of shots next game. I don't expect him to say that, but I do. He doesn't have to say it. I want him to be more aggressive. I understand what he's saying about letting the shots come to him naturally and within the offense. I get it. I want you to be a little bit more aggressive here.
I asked him very specifically, is it a lack of aggression? I did. He's just not the same player I'm used to seeing. And that's where you just kind of like, okay, is something wrong? And he didn't look like it today. He took everything like no big deal. And, they had their, the company Halloween party last night. So spirits are good. They had a good time.
Ours is Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Smack dab in the middle of D-Lo and KC. So we'll be able to watch the party from here. This will be the first time they'll have a company party where we can watch and wave to everybody having fun.
At least they didn't take it to strikes this time.
Well,
yeah, that's nice.
The best part is you guys are complaining because they're doing it while you're on the show. I didn't even get invited, even though I'll come in and be on the show. Maybe I'll come dressed up and
you probably got invited. You just don't know that that's what you got invited to. That's probably what it was.
That's funny. Yeah.
So spirits are high after the
yeah,
Halloween party.
and Harrison was
Did anybody go dressed as Buddy and the Egyptian lover
no.
from last year?
No, but that became a topic of discussion with media. We may have
leave it there. I don't
we
wanna
may have
hear
been
anymore.
ribbing Jason Anderson a little bit about
Oh,
his
J.A. got it as his
decisions.
screensaver.
Yeah, his decisions to post that randomly anytime that he feels it. Harrison said he was very disappointed in himself because he went as Stevie Wonder, and everyone there said, "Well, it's kind of like how you dress like most of the time." So, you know, I know De'Aaron and his wife were like taco and taco sauce. He was taco for Taco
don't you
Tuesday.
don't you love like taco pizza from Taco Bell or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
he got De'Aaron. He didn't get into it, but Taco Bell was responding to him because he says his wife sends him out to go get these taco pizzas all the time.
oh, the Mexican pizzas.
Mexican pizzas.
There we
that's
go.
what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. And they don't know how to get the Mexican pizza because it's always out. But if you order on the app, you can get. Yeah. There's this thing there. Yeah, and you guys saw Kevin Herter's outfit, right?
I didn't see anybody's outfit.
I didn't see any of
man,
these.
he went as like the alien thing. So
The Avatar.
no,
What
like
alien?
the big. There's a big alien that you can have that is like looming over the top of you, and your head's in the middle. Yeah, so that was good. I guess Mike Brown came as Jack Sparrow. Came as Johnny Depp, so that's a good one. Yeah, there was. Yeah, you can.
I see Kevin Herter.
Kevin Herter's got some good stuff. Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Yeah. So look, this break here, it might help them kind of recenter themselves. But I told you guys on Monday, I expect them to figure out a way to split one of the next two games. And then you can get on the right
Keegan
path.
Murray wore a yellow hoodie to the costume party.
Oh no, he's the little kid from It. That's what he is. See the balloon?
No, I don't. I'm
Okay. It.
okay. I think his friend might be holding the balloon.
No, well, no, he's holding the his. I think his significant other, his lady was the clown.
Okay.
Yeah, from It. So
It really just looked like Keegan Murray shows up to the
Georgie.
Halloween party.
There we
in a
go.
hoodie.
It's Georgie.
It absolutely looks like he just showed up in a hoodie. That's what it looks like.
But that's kind of funny because he's the kid, right? So of the group, he is like the kid, the young guy, the young buck.
Apparently, I need to follow more of these guys on Instagram because that's where all of these.
I know. I thought I followed it. Well, their stories never come up on my.
Maybe you're not a close friend.
I guess
you're not in their circle.
We'll have to have we'll have to have Miss P send us screenshots and video grabs.
We all know Miss P. She connected.
Keep us locked in. I still really love the idea that Keegan Murray just wore a hoodie to the party. I can't tell what Sabonis is.
Oh, the Money Heist. That's what that is. That's Money Heist.
Oh, okay.
I don't watch any movies.
Gotcha.
Apparently.
Yeah, I guess
Jesus.
not.
Money Heist is a show on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good stuff.
And I'm nobody's friend because I don't have any of this on any Instagram.
Well,
yeah. See, Kenny's just been blocked.
They don't put you on the green circle, bro.
They unblocked you.
They don't put you on the green circle. Harrison. Oh, and De'Aaron. You talked to De'Aaron today. You mentioned De'Aaron talking about the spacing changing now with Keegan Murray in the starting lineup and the opportunity to get Keegan Murray and Harrison Barnes going at the same time. So I want to go to a question that was posed to us, a couple of hours ago when you reported on what Mike said. What does this mean for the bench unit?
Okay, so I think what it means for the bench unit is that they're never going to have 4 or 5 bench players on the floor at one time.
Right.
So it just means that Mike has to be more clever with his rotations. Like you're going to see
no line changes.
Yeah, you might see line changes, like 3-man line changes, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not going to see a huge like transfer from the first unit to the second unit. And I think KZ will still play. They'll still use him as like a defensive guy to go in there. And it might even be easier to use KZ off the bench in this way where you can see if someone is getting it going and like, hey, we need you to go out there and do this, this, and this.
Right.
So, but like even what De'Aaron said, I thought he goes, the difference when you put Keegan Murray in the game and instantly he draws the respect to Draymond Green, where Draymond Green shifts out of the key and out to defend him. He's like, that's what we're talking about. Like, that's what he does for your offense. All of a sudden, I've got this gaping hole to run through that I can get to the rim anytime I want because the spacing's just changed because he's there. And again, if you can get Harrison fired up, the problem that you really had, I won't even say it's as much KZ as much as it's that Harrison's not doing what he normally does. So if, again, you got a guy averaging like 1.3 3-pointers per game at one position and a guy averaging like 1 at the other spot, like no one has to go out and to defend them. So
does that kind of lend itself with Keegan getting in the starting lineup? Does it lend itself to Harrison, maybe the pressure or the spotlight being off him a little bit? Because like you just said, it wasn't the fact that you had KZ out there. It's the fact that essentially, no disrespect to him, but you had 2 KZs out there because Harrison wasn't even shooting the ball or wasn't being respected as such. Now you got one of them in there, good one out, you replace it with Keegan. Now it's okay to have one guy maybe that isn't shooting or isn't getting a bunch of those shots. That's how we looked at Harrison so far this year. Is he still like able to play at his own pace now that Keegan's in there, where he wasn't able to do that when they relied on his aggressiveness or were trying to rely on his aggressiveness when KZ was out there?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. People, when we keep saying we keep saying spacing, right? We use that term all the time, and they forget that the spacing isn't just about De'Aaron Fox. Like, if you don't have good spacing, then you got bunch ball every time Sabonis touches it. And then when you have bunch ball every time he's touching it, he's getting hit from every angle every single time he touches a ball. It slows the movement of everything. Like, he's not able to see guys the way that he would normally see them. He's not able to take a breath, assess the floor, and find the right guy. It impacts spacing for a guy like Harrison, because if you don't have to defend a guy on one side and you can collapse the lane, that allows his guy to slide over a little bit more towards Harrison and take him away as well. So it's all about like team spacing. It's not one guy that all of a sudden has, a freeway to run down like De'Aaron Fox. It is about all of the pieces having spacing. And I think the one thing that Kevin Huerter's done to keep his spacing is he stepped out further and further away from the 3-point line so he can find the spacing himself, because he has unlimited range. So he just keeps going out a little bit further. And so he's still able to get all those looks he's getting. The other guys, they don't have that type of spacing ability. Like, even I think Keegan can shoot from further out, which again is why Keegan's averaging 15 shots a game. And, but Harrison Barnes is averaging like 4. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, they've got to figure out a way to balance the floor a little bit, and Keegan will balance the floor.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about this spacing.
Yeah.
We had some numbers from Will Z about De'Aaron Fox and his efficiency when he gets to the basket, when he's in the restricted area. So we'll talk about that. 1320 Kings Insider, creator of the Kings Beat, James Ham, here with us. We're back with more D-Lo and KC here on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320. Hit the thumbs up, guys. We're like 25-6 short of 200, and we got to be at 200. Dems are the rules. That's what James says. Dems are the rules.
Yep. They have Orange Crush in the can in the vending machine.
They do. Yeah. Look
Yeah,
at that. And I think, what are you drinking? Grape?
Yeah,
two freaking children in here drinking orange soda and grape soda.
I might go get me another one, though.
I love a good grape soda.
You see this?
Okay, so first of all, the stuff at McDonald's, the High C, is probably the best.
Yeah, except they don't make it.
Except, no, they brought it back out.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. I don't know. It's a big hit in my household. It
The
really is just like a big glass of diabetes. Like, it is. You're just like, oh, I'm gonna go into a sugar coma, and I don't even got the diabetes.
That's funny.
Yeah. I think the best, my favorite is Orangina. Is that what it is? Oh, that's the one in like the little round bottom glass. Yeah. You find that a lot, like when we travel in Europe and you're like, oh, I need a soda, but we're going to be doing a ton of walking today and you don't want all the heavy syrup. You can find that. So where you can't find a lot of, like you can't find Dr. Pepper or Mountain Dew in Europe for the most part. They don't have it over there. Yeah, even we went to Italy and hung out with Riccardo Pertizzi, who covered the Kings he's a Italian writer that covers the NBA. For a long time, he was here, especially when we had Bellinelli. He was here in Sacramento. And when we went to Europe, we met up with him and we asked him, what's the one thing you miss from the States? And he goes, I miss Dr. Pepper. And I'm like, you can't get that here? He's like, can't get it here at all. And my son had a Dr. Pepper shirt hiding in his bag and gave it to him. And he got very emotional.
Oh, that's tremendous.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's tremendous. Did Kenny really just go get another soda? Yes, he did. He went and got another soda. Kenny is a freaking child. I swear to God. He is a 11-year-old.
I thought I packed water. I didn't.
There's a water dispenser that's really good in there. Yeah, that big silver thing all the way at the end of the counter. All the way at the end. That's water.
I'll be damned.
It tastes pretty good too. Like I'm a water snob, so I'd tell you if it tastes like trash. It's good.
I'll be damned. You need a
It's
cup?
just you just press one button and water comes out.
But you need a cup? Or
You what?
did I give you a cup?
No, you need a cup.
We got any plastic cups in that?
No,
I
just
don't
drink
think
your
so.
soda and use that.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Fill up your soda bottle.
We're BYOB here.
That's right.
We are BYOB here.
We've had some like entanglements behind the scenes.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my!
It's
Oh
been-
my!
It's been interesting.
What the
last
hell's
couple of
going
days.
on?
Yeah.
Why?
I would like to say I'm not confident James knows the street version of entanglement, so let's not run too far with what Hammer just said, and
No, I probably don't.
that's
Yeah.
okay. That's all right. That's all right.
That's all right.
Should I look up Urban Dictionary entanglement?
As made famous by Jada and Will.
Oh, okay. Now I'm with you. No, we've had none of that. We've had none of that. No. We've had none of that.
Mrs. McDaniel. Oh my God.
No, we've had more chaos behind the scenes. That's what I think we've had. Chaos behind the scenes.
Oh man.
All is to be expected.
It's fun having you in the studio, James.
Yeah, I like being here, except for the earmuffs. Earmuffs.
You know where's you left them at home?
Yeah,
Your-
I forgot I was stopping by. And
Yeah, we've had trouble with that too. Remember, because a couple days we'll unpack at home and have that stuff there, and
yeah,
it's a process. Okay, do you have everything that you need?
I'm
Yeah.
trying not to be ridiculous and get two
Buy two of everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've thought of that.
my IFBs are molded
Hmm.
to my ears, so like I'll just use like if I remember though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these ones I got are pretty good. They're obviously not molded to my ear, but they sit these fit really, really well.
Oh, that's
and
good.
They're pretty tucked away. Unless they burn in my ear day one, like my
That
old
was
ones did.
insane.
It was more insane that y'all thought I was crazy.
Oh no.
I took I'm telling you, it shorted out the first day in the studio. My old earphone shorted out in my ear. And I'm like, hey, my ear is hot. And then I said it out loud, like, hey, my ear is hot. Like, it's really hot. was telling James the story when the earphones blew up in my ear. First day. It was like, this studio is stupid and I'm never coming back because these earphones just exploded in my ear.
Stupid.
Hey, guys, NBA.com put out their rookie ladder. Did you guys see this? Their rookie ladder. So, the top 5 rookies. They got them in order. 5 rookies. Number 1 is Paolo Banchero.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Benedict Mathurin. It's been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Jabari Smith Jr. Number 4 is Jalen Duren. And number 5 is Jaden Ivey.
The disrespect.
Well, maybe when they did this. Nope, that doesn't add up.
It's possible they're just bad at this.
It's possible. Do you remember the first time I brought up the NBA rookie ladder?
Yeah, you got mad at me.
I got mad at you.
Yeah.
You got mad at me. You like, this ladder's stupid. You're like, oh. Okay.
This show really almost broke up when we did that.
It really did. Like, this
You got mad at me then, and when I said Sam Darnold is inconsequential.
No, you didn't say Sam Darnold was inconsequential.
I said that story was stupid.
No, you said Matt Stafford was stupid.
Was it Matt Stafford?
Yes.
I think it was Sam.
No, it absolutely
Stafford.
It was
It was
not.
Darnold.
No, it was not. I
Stafford
swear
was going
to God,
to the Rams.
it was Matt Stafford.
It was Darnold.
Who?
There's no reason for me to say that about Stafford going to the Rams. Darnold going to the Panthers is ridiculous. It was absolutely that. It was
I don't even
Swear to God. It
Darnold
was Matt
with the
Stafford.
Jets.
It was Matt Stafford.
Let's call Danny up. He remembers.
I dare you. Call Danny right now and ask him about the quarterback story that I brought up that Kenny crapped on live on the air.
Well,
that resulted in the team winning the Super Bowl.
I remember because Casey was talking about how like Stafford was the same as Jimmy and stuff like that.
So that's a conversation. We were talking about
was
the Jets
quarterback
trading Darnold to the Panthers.
I said what I said. I'm with D'Lo here.
No.
We were talking about Matt Stafford.
Absolutely not.
Call Danny right now and
not.
ask him what we were talking about.
We talked about Matt Stafford for weeks.
You hear this? This is ridiculous. That's because we had to get on a call and explain to you, how do you diminish a starting quarterback being traded within the division of the San Francisco 49ers? Oh, you don't think he's very good? You don't think it's consequential?
I know for a fact it was the Jets.
I do not.
The Jets traded Darnold to the Panthers, didn't they?
I do not. Yeah, they did.
That's what we were talking about.
I do not challenge your memory on anything.
That's what
you're
we were
wrong.
Talking about.
You're wrong.
There's
dude.
no way I
you're
would
wrong,
say
dude.
because we were having conversations about Matt Stafford coming to the 49ers, and we had long conversations on the call about me not wanting Stafford or should you go get him. We always talked about Stafford. We talked about Darnold once, and you were like, "Well, why we talk about this again?" After you said it's stupid. It was Darnold.
This is a battle, epic battle.
This show is broken up 20 times in my freaking head. Y'all have no idea. I've never, like, at least 10 times I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. This show's stupid. I'm tired of people asking me where Kenny is. I'm tired of Chris Haynes not knowing who I am. I'm tired of all of this. I'm just gonna go do something else with my life. I'm gonna go sell crushed soda.
That's right.
You'll make a killing.
Jaden Ivey is officially out this evening due to a non-COVID illness.
Well, he can't move up the ladder that way, James.
Yeah. Like if I'm looking at the ladder right now, I probably have like Banchero, Mathurin, it's not, I think Keegan's probably 4, like Jalen Duren, like he's had a nice start, but he's averaging less than 9 points a game, 8 rebounds.
I don't know. I watched Jaden once. I thought Jaden was really good in the one game I watched. I checked the box score last night. I thought he was.
Maybe it was written before like yesterday.
Inconsequential.
Yeah, it's very possible.
I was thinking maybe they did this before Keegan played his second game. I was like, wait a minute. That was like 4 days ago. Like, I don't think they did that.
Yeah, it was Sunday night.
No, that's just reckless. Like, yeah. It's disrespectful what they do.
He's coming off the bench. He can't be on our ladder that way.
That's right.
So
that's over now. Yeah.
Well, but he's on with the great Tyrese Halliburton. So it's not
you said Jabari Smith, right?
Yeah.
He's on there. So I did not look up Jabari.
Didn't Jabari try to fight Jalen Green the other day?
His own teammate?
Yeah. Did you see that, Jesse?
Oh, that's not good.
They did.
Wow.
I shouldn't be laughing at that, but yeah, they got into it on the bench.
Okay, and Keegan's been a much better player than Jabari Smith. Jabari is shooting 35.7% from the field.
Jeez.
15.3 and 7.
He's shooting what from the field?
Jeez.
35.7, 357.
Oof.
Yeah, that's
Damn, they really do hate Sacramento.
Yeah, so the list should be
Damn.
Paolo
Yes.
and maybe even Matherin, but 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Then it should be Keegan,
Yeah.
and then Jaden, and then maybe if you want to look past the field goal percentage of Jabari Smith, that's fine. But yeah, that's a bit sketch.
Yeah, you guys in the chat are right. The whole story of Jabari and Jalen Green going at it was Eric Gordon just looking at these people. He was just looking like, why am I here? Why am I here with these kids?
I don't want to be here. Was that Eric Gordon? Who
Eric
was that? That was
Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe. Yeah, that was Eric Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe's out of the league. He's part of the this, what do we call them? The Auburn Destroyers.
The Auburn.
What is that?
No, was it
you
the
weren't here for
Auburn?
that.
No, was it the Auburn Destroyers?
The Auburn Yeah,
Maybe it was. Yeah.
It's the team that I'm going to start and just sign all the players that aren't on teams.
DeMarcus is on the squad.
I'm going to have Isaiah
Thomas is
Thomas.
on it. Yeah.
You know, I'll have
Wow.
Auburn Destroyers.
Wow, I'd be down with that.
I don't know what-
I'd go
Dwight
see them.
Howard?
Where are they playing at?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. What league are they in?
We'll
playing
take on
at Oak Ridge,
we'll take on the NBA. We'll be the 31st team. We'll play at the Auburn Rec Center.
It's the X.
Yeah.
B.
Yeah.
The XBA. Yo, I'd watch the XBA.
You'd watch anything basketball
That's
related.
right.
That's not
That's
surprising at all.
It's hilarious.
You asked, or we were talking about De'Aaron Fox earlier and some remarks he made about Keegan Murray and spacing the floor, him being able to space the floor in the starting lineup. Will Z had some numbers for us earlier that said De'Aaron Fox is shooting like 81% in the restricted area, but he's taking like 4 shots per game in the restricted area, less than 4 shots. The number that's sticking out of my head is like 3.7. We know, and I don't even think it's a myth at this point, that De'Aaron Fox doesn't get foul calls. Is perhaps the key to the Kings' success maybe balance between that 3-point shooting that they love and that De'Aaron is doing really well, and the team overall is doing okay in, and De'Aaron, because he seems to be the best playmaker and perhaps the guy who can best score inside that restricted area. Is that a balance that De'Aaron is going to have to find moving forward?
No.
Okay.
I think
All right.
I got to be honest.
I'll see you tomorrow, folks.
I think that whatever De'Aaron wants to do right now, let him do.
How do you feel about Matt Stafford?
Matt Stafford. Yeah, that's a non-factor.
Okay.
Yeah. To like, I think here's how I'll answer. Like, look, whatever he feels like he's doing in the flow of the game, just do it. Like, it doesn't matter if you're shooting 9 threes and that feels right to you one night, that works. But with De'Aaron, if he's 1 of 6 from 3, he's not taking those 3 extra shots. He's getting to the basket. If all of a sudden you got to live in the mid range because that's what they're giving you, and you shoot 60% for a game in the mid range, that's fine. I think the key to the Kings right now, it has nothing to do with De'Aaron. The only question is, does it? He's got to continue to be great, but can the other guys rise up and be with him? Can they get the spacing right so it makes things easier for Sabonis to set other guys up? Can Sabonis start averaging 18 to 20 points a game? These are questions. Like, again, what Mike Brown says about De'Aaron scoring, he's like, well, he's a scorer. He should score, right? That's not what we're worried about. You have to help us in other ways. So I think his assist number is 7. His rebound number is like 5.7. Excellent for a point guard. And his defensive metrics, so much better. I think he's been really good. He's Deuce brought up today at practice to De'Aaron that he's top 5 in deflections in the NBA. And De'Aaron's like, I'm top 5? It's like, yeah. He goes, you mean as a team? He goes, no, you personally. He's like, yes. Yeah, those are things that matter to him with his length and his athleticism. He even said my like quick twitch, like all those things. He thinks that those are things that matter. So yeah, like if De'Aaron has it cooking one night where he's getting downhill and getting to the rim like nonstop, that's one thing, sure. But if he's hitting from 3, like if you're going to shoot 5 of 9, man, go ahead and shoot as many as you want. Yeah, because it just makes the game easier for everybody. So I think right now he's got a really good feel and a really good flow to his game. Even when he came in late in the Golden State game, he didn't force it. He didn't try to take over and be the guy. He kept letting the players that were playing well continue to do their thing, but now just with more room because he's on the court and draws more attention. And I thought that was great to see. It was like a real mature moment for him. And I think that's what we're seeing.
I feel like maybe me and Damien are the only ones that see his games differently, because that we were talking about earlier. A lot of people are like, yeah, sometimes nationally, they're like, yeah, Fox will get in there and he'll try to be, Superman and take over the game himself. And I've just never felt that to be the case with him. I've always wanted him to shoot the ball more, wanted him to be more aggressive, more assertive, and I feel like he doesn't. And I guess, what do you think? Because I thought in the past that's how he played, but it seems like everybody else seemed to think that he was always trying to do it himself. And I just don't see it that way.
I don't see it either. I mean, like I wanted him to average more than the assist number he did last year. I didn't think that was acceptable for the player that he is. But I also know that they took the ball out of his hands for a good stretch of the season with Halliburton handling the ball. And when Fox was a primary in the last half of the season, he was incredible. I mean, he averaged between like 8 or 9 assists a game. I think that there are moments where Fox has had a great game and he's coming into the third quarter with 28 points or 30 points and he fades. And so people can say, oh, well, it looks like he tried to put it on his back, but it's the same shots he was taking the whole game and that were going in. And now he gets to the final, 6 minutes of the game and he catches just a little bit of iron and misses. And people, well, if you didn't miss those 3 shots, it's like, well, like you wouldn't even been in the game if you didn't shoot the other 15 shots that he made, So I think that that's something where you could point to maybe a little bit, but overall, I don't think I ever see like overall where, he's playing like hero ball for large stretches of the game.
What's the best thing you've seen from the Kings in these first 3 games?
I think it's the combination of Herter and Fox in the backcourt. Like we had 2 games in a row where they both hit 5 threes. Like if you're going to get 20 made threes plus in 2 games out of your starting backcourt, that's nuts. I think Herter has been as advertised and Fox has been absolutely spectacular. And I think, even if we talked about this the other day, Herter went 1 for 9 from 3 against the Warriors and he's still shooting 48% from 3. Like that's crazy. In a 3-game sample size, that's crazy. He missed 8 threes. He's still shooting 48%. So what did he come into that game? Like shooting 70-something%? So yeah, he's been incredible. Outside of that, you guys love TD. TD's been fun to watch. He's played really, really well. And then there's a Keegan thing. I mean, Keegan's he's flat out a baller. Like he's going to be really, really good. He's already really good. He's only going to get better. Although we did see him run out of gas a little bit in the Warriors game.
We had a discussion earlier today as well about like their style of play and the amount of threes that they take. And I know Damien said he thought in the first or in the third game, the Warriors game, thought they were like trying to hit this comeback 3 in the first
a 12-pointer. They were trying to hit a 12-pointer
the whole time, and they probably were. But I also said that that's kind of how they play, right? Like that's what they do. That's how they go about things. And I don't think it's going to change. Something crazy happening?
Masai Ujiri just got hit with a $35,000 fine.
Tampering?
No, for yelling. For
he's trying to get Keegan Murray.
That's
table. What it was. Masai Ujiri's trying to get Keegan Murray.
Yeah, he yelled at the score, an NBA official at the scores table.
I'm gonna be honest.
What's somebody talking to?
That bothers me. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't
do
that.
that.
Yeah. No. Well, anybody, like any team personnel doing that.
Okay, I was just about to say, didn't that happen?
Yeah, that happened here in Sacramento.
Yeah, don't do that. That's Come on, man. That's trash. Don't do that.
Not
Yeah.
feeling that.
Yeah. So to get back to your question about like the positives of the season, Kenny, I probably have forgotten your question at this point. But
style of play.
Yeah, style of play.
The amount of 3-pointers.
No, I love it. Like, go ahead and shoot the threes. Because when they haven't fallen, you've seen them take a step back and not just keep hoisting. But I think to get back to the Herter and Fox, I think the really cool thing is you now know that you have 4 starters moving forward. Like, these are like, it doesn't, whatever happens to Harrison Barnes happens to Harrison Barnes. But the Kings for the next couple of years are going to start Fox. They're going to start Herter. They're going to start Keegan Murray, and they're going to start Domantas Sabonis. And that's really good when you've got 4 really good, not only rotational players, but fit players that could start on most of the teams in the NBA. You don't have one of those guys that you would go, okay, is he a starter? And I mean, how many years have I covered this team where, I had one coach tell me, do I have one NBA starter on my team right now? And I was like, squint. Well, you have one that's not playing like an NBA starter. He goes, yeah, but he's not playing like an NBA starter. So do I have one? I'm like, no, you don't. Sorry. Yeah, that's tough.
The Kings right now are 7th in the league in assist. 27.3.
Yeah.
Sustainable?
I think so. Yeah.
I tell you who number 1 is. San Antonio.
That's interesting, isn't it?
30. I'll tell you who number 2 is.
Uh-oh.
You could probably guess.
Golden State Warriors?
It's Utah.
Oh, yeah.
San Antonio and Utah are the top 2 teams in the league right now. 30.0, I think, and 29.5. And then, Golden State's up there. I think they're 3rd or 4th. Toronto's up there, I think, somewhere. But Sacramento is 7th. And I always look to that number and see how close it gets to 30. Like, how sustainable is, and maybe 27 isn't the number, but top 10 in assists on the season for the Kings.
Yeah, but I don't know who led the league last year. I don't think it was 27.
Kenny looked at this earlier, and Kenny had this earlier. I think, I don't recall.
Yeah, like it's going to be really tough for some teams to sustain that. I think what you're seeing from Utah is very intriguing.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to keep that. I don't think San Antonio is going to keep that either. But I was trying to give context to.
Take a guess.
Who led the league in assists last year?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd immediately go to the Warriors, but
Warriors were 5th.
I'd go Minnesota because Minnesota
was 7th.
Okay.
Number 1 was Charlotte with 28 a night. Number 2 was San Antonio with 27.9.
So 20. Okay. Well, maybe San Antonio, because to check the record books, I think San Antonio stunk last year. So maybe that is sustainable for them this year.
Yeah.
Maybe assists don't equate to wins. Maybe I should just drop this whole stat that I've been looking at all day.
He knows this
lie that you've been perpetrating on.
Here's the crazy thing about that.
Passing doesn't matter, kids.
Sacramento
Look at the Spurs.
the team who was last in the league in assists last year was the Knicks. They didn't make it. But 29th was the Toronto Raptors, 22 a night.
Interesting.
They do a lot of ISO ball.
27th was the Utah Jazz.
With who? Fred VanVleet?
VanVleet,
Oh,
Siakam.
No. Siakam.
Oh, Siakam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Utah was 27th. Dallas was 25th.
It's all playoff teams.
Even
well, Kings.
Yeah.
New strategy, guys.
Don't pass.
Just shoot it.
Just shoot. Catch and shoot.
Four dribbles, and then shoot.
Oh man. Goodness gracious. One thing that everyone's been frustrated by is free throws. Is that correctable? I know you talked yesterday. You posted videos yesterday of them shooting free throws, a lot of free throws after the game. We talked to Coach David Patrick yesterday, the Sac State Hornets. He was like, a lot of this stuff is mental.
It's mental.
You can get in gyms and you can shoot till the sun comes up if you want to. It's a lot different when you're out there in front of, 15,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it sticks out with Harrison Barnes. Like a career 80% shooter, all of a sudden he's shooting 53% or whatever it is. Yeah, it's all mental. And to be honest, I don't think it's that the Kings are mentally weak. I think it's that the Kings have a million things running through their heads right now while they're trying to figure out defensive schemes, figure out the offensive playbook and everything. They have all these things going on in their head, and they're stepping to the line without taking that extra second to clear it and come up with the big shot.
Yeah.
Again, it's already cost them at least one win.
Clippers.
Yeah, you missed
57%.
You missed 11 free throws and you lost by 2 points.
Yeah.
But I'll even say the Portland game, they missed, I think it's 8 or 9. I mean, it was bad there too.
Mm-hmm.
And in a really close game,
Yeah.
you just can't have it. And they know that. Even Harrison, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's not something I've ever had to worry about. And yeah, you hope that it's something that smooths out pretty quick.
Yeah. It's a lot of pressure here in Sacramento on this team to get it done. There's
I think
no
so
excuse.
too.
There's no excuse. You got to get it done. But there's a lot of. This isn't just another basketball season. This seems like
it's the basketball season.
We contribute to it, but I mean, it's the fan base and everybody. It's like the biggest basketball season of all time.
Yeah,
you got to win.
Well, it feels like the last hope, because if this fails, we've discussed like what if this season doesn't work out? Then what?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, right?
Build around Keegan Murray. I mean, you pray Indiana doesn't get better, and that looks worse. You feel like you probably already lost to Montes Sabonis. God, Monty's probably gone. I mean, now a new coach is coming in with Mike. And
okay, that's a wrap. Let's go.
Yes,
that's the end of the show.
Like, what is
Sorry
this?
to leave you with doom and gloom.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But none of us think that's going to happen.
No, I think they're going to figure it out.
And I think they figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm with that.
It's going to be a hell of a time to figure it out, but I think they figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mike Brown even talked about it a little bit today. Like, look, the pressure. Everyone is talking about it. Yeah. Everyone talks about the streak. Like, we get it.
That could be bad. Yeah, that could be a bad thing.
No. I mean, they understand like that it's going to be some like hyper focus until it's over.
No. Jesse's telling us our show has to end. So we appreciate you so much for being with us today. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up before you go. Hit the subscribe buttons as well. Go check out the King's Beat, available on YouTube, available wherever you get podcasts from. Check out the latest edition of Corners of the Culture, wherever you get podcasts.